This segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your partner is good health.
Hey everybody, welcome back into Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. It is the Great American Smokeout Day, and that'll be November 20th on Thursday. And there'll be an event at the Terrebonne General Health System at the Atrium. It'll take place there as the Louisiana campaign for tobacco-free living and the Great American Smokeout. We'll talk about all that at the Atrium. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also a chance to get some credits for different health providers. They'll be talking about vaping on this particular one. It's a vaping town hall. And we got a speaker and another member of the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living here to talk about it. Dr. Andrea Lorio is a pulmonologist at Terrebonne General Health Systems. And Brad Wellens is also part of the maybe I put a D in your name. Wellens is here. He's also with the regional manager for Southeast Louisiana for the campaign for tobacco-free living. So
I'm going to say you just saying that. You can call us TFL.
TFL from now on. Tackle behind the line. We'll find out some analogy to put there. But yeah, thanks guys for being with us. Vaping, we're going to have a vaping town hall. Is that a big issue, Doc? I thought we created vaping to get away from cigarette smoking, but maybe we didn't find a cure for smoking yet.
We haven't found a cure for smoking yet. Unfortunately, it's a big part of the health risks in our community, and it's becoming a very prevalent health risk for the youth in our community. There's no safe way to consume nicotine. Vaping as a substitute for smoking is actually not a recommended way of smoking cessation, according to a lot of the medical communities. And it is not a safe way for entry into use of inhaled substances, including nicotine or marijuana.
Yeah, I know when we talked about this, and at the beginning, it's just water vapor, right? All you're going to be doing is having a little water vapor, but you'll have the sensation of it. But that's not exactly what happened, right?
That's not exactly what happened. So there's propellants in the vaping devices, propylene glycol, which can then be broken down during the heating process, as well as metabolized into our body into formaldehydes. You also have heavy metals, tin, nickel, and a few others. And then you also have other chemicals, lead, and you also have other chemicals, surfactants, as well as things to help with the flavorings, all of which you're inhaling into your lungs and can be very irritating, especially for those that have underlying lung diseases like asthma, COPD, and allergies.
And I guess really with the target seems to be now is the younger people, right, Brad? And
yeah.
You were telling me some pretty sober statistics about the number of children at age junior high and high school level that are doing this.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Dr. Lorio hit right on it. But as far as the statistics go, 1 in 3 high schoolers vape and 1 in 5 middle schoolers. And we've seen initiation.
And that's Louisiana, right?
Yeah, in Louisiana.
And we're higher than...
That's higher than the national average. National average for middle schoolers is 5%. National average for high school is 8%. So we're significantly higher. And, you know, the thing about the vaping that makes it so troublesome is that, like Dr. Lorio said, nicotine is never good to inhale in any side. But vaping has higher levels of nicotine than cigarettes did way back in our day. Much higher.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe. Like I said, I mean, they just kind of pull the wool over everybody's eyes. And I guess that's why people are going to ban them and all those things as well. Mm-hmm. What are you going to talk about at the seminar, Don?
So we're going to talk a lot about the health risks of vaping, some of the signs and symptoms that people are presenting with to primary care doctors, pediatricians, as well as specialists like myself. We're also going to be talking about warning signs of vaping, how teachers, parents, and other individuals that are impacting and working with youth can recognize the use of vaping, and then really focusing on how we can reach out to those young people and help them with either preventing initial use or quitting before we start seeing negative impacts to their health.
When you have a clinic, you're a pulmonologist, and that's obviously what you're dealing with. Pulmonology means the lungs. What do you see in your clinic from the effects of, I guess, both? And when you're talking about tobacco-free, but we're talking about smoking versus vaping. Do you see a difference? Can you tell a difference of those patients?
You can tell a difference between the patients mostly by how they smell when they come in, right? So your smokers, you're going to have that classic smell of someone who smokes. That all of the burnt, the paper, the burning of the tobacco leaves and everything in the cigarette.
The yellowing.
It's a very classic, presentation of someone that comes in. When you have someone that comes in that's vaping, you don't have that unpleasant smell. And so for a lot of youth, it's an easy way to hide the use of nicotine from, their adults in their life. Right. But when they come to my clinic, they're all complaining of shortness of breath, cough, sometimes chest pain. Sometimes they've been admitted for pneumonias, bronchitises in the hospital. And they're trying to figure out why at 18, 25 years old, they're having ailments that their grandparents are presenting with.
Right. And they smell like cotton candy.
And they smell like cotton candy.
Yeah, which is, like I say, it's hard to see. But yeah, I never smoked, but my sister may have. And when it come in, my parents immediately would know what happened.
90% of the kids that are vaping, or even young adults, like Dr. Lorio said, are doing flavors.
Yeah.
10% are tobacco. Yeah. And that's what it is.
Right. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue this discussion next. We'll be right back here on Bayou Time.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your partner is good health.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. We're talking about the vaping town hall that the Terrebonne General Health System will put on 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That'll be Thursday, November 20th. That'll be at the atrium. A lot of good information, and man, I'm learning a lot just with our conversation here with Dr. Andrea Lorio, a pulmonologist at TGMC or Health Systems, and Brad Wellens. So, Brad, look, we were just talking about, is it almost as bad as, it's almost worse when it comes to the nicotine content. Tell me
in some ways, and Dr. Lorio talked about this in the first segment, that it's what the nicotine does to juvenile and developing children's brain. But the nicotine content is so much higher, so it's a drug bottle as much as it is tobacco or smoking, which in a lot of cases, the harm from traditional commercial tobacco smoking was from the tar and the things that are burned, not necessarily from the nicotine. Here, we're talking about the nicotine as being one of the primary sources of harm, in addition to the other cancer-causing chemicals and things like that.
Yeah, I probably spend too much time reading about performance enhancement or brain enhancement, how to do your best and different things. A lot of times people talk about nicotine as an older person, that, hey, nicotine's good. The Zens have made like a nice comeback. That's not for a young person, all right, Don?
No, it's not. So nicotine is a very potent chemical in the brain. It creates addiction in the brain with as little as 100 cigarettes, right? So 1,000 milligrams of nicotine can create addiction. And that addiction comes with decreased attention. It can cause irritability. It can cause increased anxiety, depression. And in those young developing brains, because remember, young people are still developing their brains up until the age of 25. So that creates a culture and a intensity in their life that becomes very hard to overcome for them, not only from a medical standpoint, but also from a social and emotional standpoint while they're still developing.
Well, I would think socially a lot of it, hey, I'm being cool, right? I look cool, I'm doing that from a social standpoint. From a development standpoint, though, what would be worse, the things you're taking into your lungs or the addiction to the nicotine?
Oh, that's a hard question.
And look, you may have pot in there, you may have all those different things that are in there.
There's a lot of different things in the e-cigarettes and the vapes. And, you don't really ever know what's coming in, especially if you're using a vape that's maybe been altered by someone.
Right.
And you can get
I think that's a big draw to it, actually.
drugs that you don't know are going into your system. And that's a very high risk for youth. It increases their risk of other risky behaviors.
Because remember, these things are illegal anyway, right? And so what the kids
for
are
those
doing,
ages, right.
they're under the age of 21, they're illegal. And so what the kids are doing, they're not only using these things, but they're adding things like fentanyl, like THC, like cannabinoids, like alcohol, like all these things that are even worse for them, which increases the risk of addiction, and it increases the propensity that they will become then users of other drugs and addicts of other drugs.
When somebody wants to stop, I'm sure it's not easy for them just to walk away from it and put it down. What do we do? How do we get there?
So there's a lot of different ways to help them. Multimodal approaches to nicotine cessation or quitting are the most successful. You have to look at alternative nicotine replacement to slowly stepwise them down from their level of addiction, looking at the total milligrams per day that they're utilizing. And then you also can use medications to kind of help temper that anxiety. So we use things like Wellbutrin and other antidepressants to kind of help even out their irritability as they continue to withdraw. And then we also offer a lot of counseling. Counseling is, I think, almost the most important aspect to it, because when you start developing nicotine addictions, it's a behavior, it's emotional dysregulation. And so that counseling, that ability to have somebody to talk through all of the things that you're going to encounter and develop healthy coping mechanisms is what makes a sustainable quitter, or a good quitter, as I call in my clinic.
Exactly right.
Look, I imagine it's pretty hard, and there's probably a high rate of recidivism too, and probably tough to get people to do. Just like we were talking about the Zens, but it used to be Copenhagen or Skoal. I'm sure all tobacco and tobacco-free living, going back to the TFL.
Right.
But that's all, you're trying to break everybody from those habits, right?
Yes, we are. And then that's the thing, is that it's tobacco across all the spectrums. And you mentioned that Zen, these are nicotine pouches. This is something that's sort of the next step. And we're seeing it. It's a large proportion of Louisiana, particularly in young men, because for some reason, men tend to do the smokeless tobacco more. And I mean, there was a kid, I heard this report that he wanted to avoid vaping in school. So he's been doing the Zen pouches in school because you don't spit. There's nothing. And you would never know you have them in. They come in the flavor just like the vape do. And he was caught with a vape and all of the nicotine patches.
So we got a minute to go. If you want to come, you can just come to the program, but it's also online?
Yes,
and,
also
and there's
online.
some CMEs available?
Yes. There
Or
are
CMUs or whatever you call them?
CU.
Okay.
Yes, continuing education units. But anyway, yes, it's free. It's free to register. It's go to tobaccofreeliving.org. It's the QR code is right there on your screen, and if you come in person, you get a free lunch. And we can also register online and do that well.
Who said there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? There is a free lunch. Doc, you'll be one of the speakers. There'll be other speakers as well. So it should be a good day. And hopefully, look, you're probably not going to have a bunch of teenagers there, but maybe people that can help those teenagers and do it that way. So appreciate y'all time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back, and we'll buy you time right after this.
This segment was brought to you by Cardiovascular Institute of the South, providing our patients the highest quality cardiovascular care available.